again. Isn't that right, Bubble?
That's right, Kane. I can't wait to see what you've got cooking up for today.
Well, let's not waste any time. Let's get right into the show.
Hello there, anime fans and FNAF fans alike. This is JP4OC. And this is a very different topic than usual. It's usually FNAF. I think there's one anime video up. But this is the Amazing Digital Circus. Now, what the Amazing Digital Circus is, it's a glitch production, and it's a very good. It was a pilot that appeared 10 days ago, I think, maybe earlier or later. But I think it was a pretty good pilot. The whole pilot was basically Kane, the ringmaster, basically has this circus, this digital circus, where there's a theme song, there's these characters, Jax, Ragatha, and then just these wacky characters. But then a human puts on a virtual headset and becomes Pomni, or later on established to be Pomni, and gets transported to the digital world and kind of goes crazy, thinking it's a dream and stuff. And she finds exits, believes there's an exit, but no one believes her. Except for when there's a break. I'm gonna just call it a brain rot. Like when their minds go crazy, they go insane, and then they become like glitched. I forgot what it was called. But personally, I really liked the pilot, really good pilot, but that's not what this is about today. It is about the pilot, but not about my feelings about it. It's about my theories about it. Now, of course, there's other theories. Every theory is valid. So if I mention a theory, it's because I think that it has some back behind it, or at least is worth mentioning during that moment. But I'm going to give out my theory, and that theory is what I like to call the dead end job theory. Now, this theory, first I'll be covering the characters and what they mean, what at least I think they mean, in a sense of a workplace, probably. So let's just get right into it. Pomni was treated as a joke, someone not to be taken seriously. The reason I think this is because she's a jester. She's someone to laugh at, someone to poke fun at. But so that's why she turned into a jester. It's kind of just to symbolize what people thought of her. Next would be Ragatha, is a plaything for someone to mess with, or when you want to hurt someone, you can easily just hurt them. It's kind of like a punching bag of some sort. So that's why she's a doll. She's easy to use, control, to manipulate. That's what I think that's trying to mean. Next would be Kinger. Kinger was the thing. He could never become a king because in the workplace he was alone. He could have been a lonely worker that only talked up when he was necessary, never made any bonds or anything like that. And he always wanted to be on the top. Zubo is someone who kind of made themselves, kind of molded themselves after other people's personality, and never was true to herself to fit in. That's why she's a bunch of different pieces. She's not just one solid thing. Jax is a bunny, Pomni's a jester. She is just an amalgamation of random shapes and weird zigzags and things like that, and pieces. That's why makes a lot of sense, because it just based on how she speaks too. It's kind of the opposite of how would you think. She speaks very sarcastically, with a monotone voice, kind of like I do. But next would be a Gangle. Gangle is someone. Now, some are opposite, representations, or some are just straight up like Gangle. Was way too dramatic and always put on different faces than what she actually felt. If she was sad, she would put on a happy face, and if she wanted empathy or the attention, you would put on a sad face. It's just that simple. And then Jax took me a while to come up with, because he seems arrogant almost. He doesn't really care about other people, which makes sense because we need a character that does that, I guess. For me, Jax is someone who was arrogant when approached, but is actually a very caring and shy guy on the inside and likes to avoid any unnecessary problems. Now, when I think Jax and how he truly is, I feel like he would be someone like Rad from OKKO. very arrogant, but then on the inside is actually caring. But we haven't seen that caring side. We have seen the whole unnecessary problems thing, because when he went to go see Kaufmo with Ragatha and Pomni, the moment he saw that, he immediately ran away. You can say this is scared, he can't move as well. He really didn't want any problems. And that's it for the characters. I think Kane is an AI, so there's nothing I can really put to that. Or Bubble, I don't even know if Bubble would even be considered a character worth even mentioning. But next is just some like lines or just some images that I think would help this theory out, that they're all part of this dead-end job, and they all just got sucked into the digital world. Now, let's say it's a dead-end job. No one likes dead-end jobs. So all of them want to escape from their dead-end job, so they put on a beta VR headset that they probably worked on that trapped them in the game all at different points in times. But I feel like the time in the digital world goes way faster than the time in the outside world. The reason why I say that is because at the start of the episode, when they're doing their whole intro, they kind of like go, like, they say it's morning, the sun's out, but then the moon's also out. I mean, they probably don't have a good perception of time. I'm guessing sleep time is when the sun is still out. I don't think there is really a set date. They could have been there for more years than they could have thought, but in the real world it's different. And they probably worked on the game, because Pomni, as she's in the room running, trying to find the exit in the office room, it is a company, C&A, and she can see that she recognizes that desk with the VR headset, and the VR headset looks very old, or not really old, but like very prototype. It doesn't look finished at all. It just looks like a brick with just a bunch of wiring into it. And the amount of probably the air of despair around her when she was a human, or when she was not in the digital world, probably enough for her to put on the headset even after what I think the company went bankrupt. The reason why I say that is because there's these two possibilities for why it's all empty in there. There's actually three. One, they went bankrupt, so that's why there's nothing there. It's supposed to represent how the company fell through. Second, that's how she got access to that stuff. Second is Kane saying that he'd never finished the exit, which I'm going to get to later, but being basically he never finished what would be on the other side of the exit doors. So that would mean that was just why there's nothing there practically. And and then the next one is the whole thing of it being just since it's part of her mind, she was probably alone too, just kind of like Kinger, how I brought up. So she was probably alone too, so she never decided to, so that means no one would show up for her because she wasn't friends with anyone. No one to care about, no one to really take note of, to then put in that digital world in the mind. And as I get to this, I would say that there's one specific thing that I want to bring up. Now, the big logo of the company, C&A. Now, this is where I'm going to bring up another theory that I saw on TikTok. I forgot who it's by, but it was a theory where C&A stands for Cain and Abel. That Cain, the name of the AI, but Cain and Abel from the Bible, which I really don't know, because of course the Last Supper is at the end, it kind of replicates that, so it might have some biblical intentions, but it's just, for me, not enough evidence to really support that. It is a good theory though, because I bet if you really look closer, because if it's two Bible stories there, Cain and Abel, then the Last Supper, so I'm guessing that there's probably more you can probably find there if you just look really hard at it and make some assumptions. I think it can be a really solid theory if took in more into account. But for me, I feel like the big logo stands for Circus and Academics. Now, the reason why I think this is because the game, the whole world in itself is a digital circus, but it looks like a kid's game. It has shapes around, and it looks like you're supposed to be learning in it. Like, you learn learn from the shapes. Kane is your host. You might learn about something medical because it's just teeth. You like just to entertain kids because everyone is family friendly. King or Jack, even Gango, Jax, they're all family friendly designs. No one's out of the ordinary here. Everything is what a child would recognize: a plush bunny, a doll, a bunch of ribbons, a chess piece. It's things kids would recognize, and then a bunch of shapes. So I feel like it's a bunch of kids' toys, kind of like a kid's world that they would learn from to like to learn their shapes and other things like that. Now, the thing I really want to bring up is two Kane things. The first Kane thing is we're going backtracking a bit, going back to the second thing I mentioned or first, where Kane created the world that Pomni went into but wasn't finished. Now I feel like it's something where, kind of like, I don't know if this makes sense, but if you ever watched the last season of a regular show, or I'm pretty sure it was before, I don't know which season when they were in space, but Benson went into the kind of like that teleporter thing that was supposed to send them back home, but then it was a simulation of him going back home. And I feel like it's kind of similar here, because I feel like it's supposed to replicate their home, like an exit, because he said at the end that that he was making an exit, but that he never really had an idea as to put on the other side of the exit, so he left it incomplete. That's why there could be no people there, because he never got to putting any people there. So I feel like that him with that in mind, you can say that he kind of, I don't really know how to say this, but it's kind of like the regular show with Benson, because it could be that it's supposed to mold them into a world that's supposed to be similar to them so they can have the feeling of home again. I think that's what the exit door was supposed to be, but there was never going to be a real exit. It was just going to be all fake exit and things like that. Now, was when you think I think Kane is trying to protect them. He's making the exit door because he wants them to be able to be sane. He doesn't want them to go insane. Now, there's other characters that have gone insane. When you look into the pit of corruption, I want to call it, you can see all these other corrupted like people. They've gone insane, like Hoffmo. So, and you can even see other doors back there showing what was missing, and then there's blank faces, mannequin faces or whatever they're called, to do poses with. And I feel like those are not people, they're instead just bases for a person. So one of them would be taken off the room, put as an actual person, and then their room would be replaced with the actual person. Like Pomni probably in her room was just a normal wooden doll as well, like the other vacant doors. But then it got taken and then turned into Pomni and used as a base. But the AI, I would say Kane is definitely trying to protect them, because he's trying to give them everything they can want, a fun, better life that they had before. Because they can do whatever they want here. They can sleep, they don't have to pay anything. It's all just a wonderland practically, and really awesome. But I think they're misinterpreting Kane's whole like image, because they kind of think of him as like the villain, kind of like Pomni thinks that Kane is suspicious because of course he won't let them leave, but it's because he doesn't want them to leave. There could be something out in the world that's happening right then and there that they don't know about, that he's trying to protect from them. And I feel like that's what Pomni saw when she went past the exit, when she found the void. Now the void seems to be very, very vast, but it then zooms out into the empty desk again. So my thing is, I think what Pomni witnessed wasn't really, I think was just an empty office. I think her realizing that now she is in a computer and not a dream anymore is what that face was. I don't think it was that there was anything surprising. I think it was just a realization that, oh, I am here now. This isn't good. That you're now trapped in one place and could only do certain things now and only have to, like, you can't really do anything else but the things that are given and little games that Kane comes up with. And I really think that was what it was, because she never had that realization moment that, oh, this is real. She, throughout the entire thing, she just always was like, oh, this is a dream. And I think that makes the most sense. So, and that's it. That's it, really. That's my theory on the amazing digital circus.